Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Today we are taking a look at Viktor Hovland's golf swing. Viktor Hovland, incredible young talent, and yeah, incredible golf swing. Hits the ball a long way, one of the best iron players on the planet. So let's dive straight in, guys. First of all, we're starting off with the driver. We have a bunch of really good down the line videos. We're gonna have a look at Viktor hitting driver from down the line and front on, irons, hybrids, wedges, everything to show you guys here. So let's dive straight in. And by the way, if I miss anything or you think I've missed anything, or you just let me know your thoughts, comment down below, let me know what you think of Viktor Hovland, his swing, and give this video a like and subscribe. So guys, let's dive straight in. Here we have Viktor set up with driver from down the line, and everything looks pretty good here. Viktor can actually move the ball both ways. He can hit pretty big draws and pretty big fades as well. Setup, everything looks pretty neutral. Alignment is very good. Spine angle, posture is great. Hips are nicely over the ankles. Really good setup. He has quite a big gap actually between his hands and his body. His hands and arms start quite far away from him, and actually if you look at where the club and ball is, they actually start quite far away from him as well. As we take this club back, it's very unique golf swing this. He's going to bring that club way inside with a shut face. If we pause it parallel to the ground, pretty neutral position here, but we're going to see the club start to move inside pretty quickly. The face of the driver kind of even more closed than his spine angle, really. Spine angle is fairly upright at this position. Viktor has some unusual quirks in his golf swing, which I'm going to be talking you guys through and explaining a bit more to you guys. As we take this club back, we're going to see the club move in behind him quite deep, quite quickly. Then it's going to move up to the top, the hands and arms lifting up, and the club gets very across the line. If we pause it at the top here, quite a few things to talk about. First of all, that golf club is very across the line with a very closed club face. Now, this is because of a few reasons. First of all, Viktor has a very bowed left wrist, but he also has a very strong grip with his left hand, which is why the angle of his left wrist and the club face actually don't match up. The club face is pointing pretty much straight up towards the sky. A few other interesting things to note. Viktor's golf swing is quite unique in the sense, it's a very rotational golf swing, but in the backswing he doesn't really pivot too much. It's more of a big shoulder turn and hip turn. I'm going to be doing a video for you guys probably this week sometime on kind of a pivot versus a turn in the golf swing. I personally prefer a pivot. I kind of have too much turn in my own golf swing in the backswing, and it kind of leads to some issues for me. But Viktor, huge turn here, and by the way, what I mean when I say turn is the knees have actually started to move around to the right to point back towards us. And you can see a lot more of like his belt buckle than you would with some other players, but huge hip turn, huge shoulder turn, very loaded into the right side, into that right glute. And if we look at the arm structure as well, that right elbow at about 90 degrees, maybe just less. So all good things to check off here. And as we play this swing down, he has an incredible move down into the ball. Watch this. The arms are going to drop and shallow. The left wrist bows kind of even more. As he shallows the golf club, he rotates really hard. He squats down into the ground, comes through pretty flat as we pause it here parallel to the ground. And this is a really good position he's got himself into. So, starting here, we're starting to see some more kind of traditional-ish positions where he's got a lot of squat into the ground, uses the ground very well, and his club face matches his spine angle, very square club face here. And we also see that nice triangle of daylight between the arms and the body, that right elbow very connected to the body. And from here, he's going to turn onto the ball, rotating really hard. If we pause it at impact, those arms are very connected to his body. Incredible position here with a very stable club face. He's stabilizing the square club face he's got with his body rotation. This is a very modern golf swing. This is very different to, you know, golf swings of the past where you'd really rely on a lot of release of the hands and arms to square up the face. He's got a very square club face and he's rotating hard to stabilize that through the ball. And also, if we look at his lower body, he actually hasn't let that right heel lift up too much, which I really personally like. Hips and shoulders very open to the target. Little bit of curvature in the spine, but not too extreme like we see with some other players. And if we play this swing through, we're going to notice some really interesting things. He's going to do two things at the same time. He's going to really start to extend the arms as he pushes up off the ground, releasing all that pressure he's built into the ground. So if we play this through, he's going to extend the arms really hard as he pushes up off the ground, and he doesn't really let the club face rotate over, kind of holds on to that club face as he comes through. And if we pause it kind of at the end of Viktor's golf swing in his finish position, look how rotated his shoulders are to the target. They're almost at a right angle to the target, and this is because he hasn't let the club release over. He's kept turning with the body to be able to stabilize the club face. He never really lets the club overtake the body, and that is one of the reasons he's one of the best iron players in the world, because he has such a square club face the whole way through and never lets kind of anything release too much or really get out of place. So now let's just play this back once or twice for you guys and you can see it for yourself. He kind of takes the club very inside, works it up to the top, and then shallows it really nicely, rotating hard with that square club face as he comes through the ball to the finish. Just play it once more for you guys to take a look at. Let me know, comment down below, is there anything you see here that you think I've missed? Next we're going to be taking a look at Viktor hitting 3-wood, so let's dive into that. Here we have Viktor set up with a nice 3-wood. Again, perfect view down the line. Again, setup hasn't really changed here. Everything I mentioned with the driver is pretty applicable here. As we take the club away, I want you to focus on, well, if we slowly take the club away throughout the swing, I want you to slowly focus on Viktor's knees, where they're pointing, because obviously now it's set up, they're pointing towards the ball. If we start to take this club away, if we pause it parallel to the ground, we can kind of already see that his knees are starting to shift to the right, starting to point a little bit more back at us, but that will continue. First of all, this club in a very good position here. Square face, everything like that, everything we kind of mentioned with the driver. So let's play it back to the top. Again, the club's going to work deep in behind him, and watch the knees here as he lifts that club up to the top, gets it very across the line. If we pause it here, that right knee is pointing a lot more back towards us than it was at the start of the golf swing. So that's what I meant earlier when I was saying he has more turn, and it's more turn than pivot really in his golf swing. But that left, a lot of bend in the left leg, which I like to see, really pushing into the ground. Again, if we look at the club, very close club face, same as the driver, across the line, very bowed wrist, right arm at just under 90 degrees, huge hip and shoulder turn. And then if we play this down, it's going to really squat into the ground hard as he rotates, shallows that club. Look at that arm structure, that external shoulder rotation of the right arm as he comes down. If we pause it parallel to the ground, I would say he's probably trying to hit a fade here, because that club is definitely outside the hands and probably going to be working across the golf ball. But a few other things to mention. Again, triangle of daylight between the arms and body. Yeah, right elbow very connected, very square club face, so he's very stable, and he's going to rotate onto the ball, maintains his spine angle really nicely, rotates onto the ball. If we pause it at impact here, and again, great impact position. There's a lot of things to like about this golf swing. Even though it's not traditional, you probably wouldn't really be taught this kind of swing. No one would ever really tell you to bow the wrist that much, or make your grip that strong, or a few other of those things, or work the club that inside on the takeaway and get it that across the line at the top. But Viktor really uses these things to his advantage. He matches them up and they work well for him in his swing. And as we play this through, we're going to see again, well, first of all, look at that right heel. Again, it's pretty almost on the ground, just starting to lift up. So I much prefer that to a few of the other swings we've looked at. And if we play this through, again, we're going to see him start to push up off the ground as he extends the arms. And look at how left that club moves, kind of underneath him. The hands and arms really move left as he starts to rotate around. And again, at that finish, so much shoulder turn. Those shoulders are like 90 degrees to the target, which is very, very different to a lot of other players. Let's just play that through once or twice for you guys. And yeah, notice if you guys notice anything else about this swing which I haven't mentioned, please do comment down below. Obviously give this video a like and subscribe as well. And let me know what you think of Viktor Hovland as a player. Will he win majors? Will he, how well do you think he will do in his career? Now we're going to have a look at an iron swing from Viktor. This looks to be about 7 or 8 iron to me, probably 7 iron. And really good look down the line with an iron here. As we have it paused at the setup, again, there's nothing too drastic that's changed there. I would say the hands and arms a little bit closer to the body than they were with the woods. Kind of expect that a little bit. But really good setup, like that a lot. As we play this back, if we pause it parallel to the ground, gets that club in a beautiful position here. Very, very square club face. Really like to see that, guys. And as we play it back to the top, works that club inside, then up quite steeply. And if we pause it at the top, the club's not maybe quite as across the line. Also, the swing isn't as long. He doesn't have quite as much kind of wrist hinge or kind of turn, so the swing's a little bit shorter. But very, very, very close club face still. We can see a lot of that club face there. Very bowed wrist, arm structure or body, all pretty much identical to both the other swings we've just had a look at. If we play this down, he's going to shallow it out really nicely. Doesn't really drop the hands and arms too much. Gets that club working in a really good position. If we pause it parallel to the ground, I love how much hip flexion he has in this position. If you struggle with early extension or anything like that, note Viktor's position here. He's maintained his spine angle really well. He has a lot of flex in the hips, a lot of squat into the ground. That's a really, really good position. Interestingly enough, the club face isn't as square here. I'm not sure why that is. Could be trying to hit a fade, not sure. But body and everything in very, very similar positions. Great position. That right foot almost flat on the floor now. As he rotates through onto the ball, and if we pause it at impact, he really compresses the ball hard. We can kind of see that. And the club is already starting to move left. If we play this through, the club is going to move very, very left. The hands and arms move left. Doesn't really release the face as they kind of move left and underneath him. And again, big shoulder turn and extension in the finish position as well. So let's just play that back for you guys once so you guys can take a good look at that. Club works nicely, kind of inside and up. Gets it to the top, bit across the line, but shallows it really, really beautifully as he rotates really hard, squaring up that face, and the club works left and underneath him. Now, let's just have a look at a wedge swing. Then we're going to take a look at a front-on swing of Viktor's, which is a really important angle to understand in Viktor's golf swing. So let's take a look at this. Here we have Viktor set up with a wedge. And really good. Again, setup position hasn't really changed. Pretty much the same with almost every club. The arms slightly closer to him again. And if we start to play this back slowly, again, I won't pause it this time because we kind of know what's happening in Viktor's golf swing if we just play it back slowly. Again, the swing isn't quite as long, but very square face at the top, not as much wrist hinge, and then he shallows and he will turn through very, very nicely, stabilizing that club face with his body rotation, guys. So guys, now let's take a look at Viktor Hovland's golf swing from front on. And by the way guys, if I have missed anything, please do comment down below and let me know what else you noticed about Viktor Hovland's golf swing. Here we have Viktor set up with driver. Initial thoughts, setup position is really good, but he does look like he has a lot of weight at the setup on his left side. But as we take the club away, he is actually going to shift this onto his right. If we take it away and pause it parallel to the ground, he's already shifted this kind of back. And beautiful position at parallel to the ground. And the weight is already starting to shift into his right side. A little bit of kind of lateral movement there. As we take it to the top and pause it at the top of the golf swing. Again, notice what I said earlier about that right knee kind of pointing more back than it does at the ball. You can see that here, it's pointed far more to our left, to Viktor's right. But other than that, really good. It's a very modern position in that he's let that left knee come in quite a lot to increase his hip turn, which in turn has allowed him to increase his shoulder turn, and it is a huge shoulder turn. Gets his spine angle very nicely tilted away from target, going to allow him to hit up nicely on that driver. And as we start to play it down, we're going to notice some really interesting things happen. It's a very modern kind of leg work and body positions as he comes down. So if we play this down, we're going to notice he's going to squat really hard into the ball, and he turns that left hip out the way very early, and his spine angle kind of changes to be a bit more upright. But then as he comes through, and if we pause it at impact, or just kind of if we pause it after impact, he's kind of pushed up off the ground and back, and you can see how much he's held on to that club face. His left arm is also slightly bent as well. Kind of an interesting position here. Again, maybe not when you teach in terms of the arm structure, but the body, he's pushed up and off the ground and back using all that pressure he put into the ground. If we play this through, he doesn't let that face release over. He extends the arms as he rotates so hard through to that balanced finish. And let's just play this once or twice back for you guys. Again, you can kind of see that when he loads up in the backswing into that right side, and on the downswing really loads into the ground, then pushes up off of it. A great way to increase distance. I'm probably going to do a separate video on kind of how to increase driver distance with a similar move like this. You can really use the ground and really add significant amounts of yardage to your drives and pretty much all your golf shots really. And now guys, let's just have a look at, well, one more swing. This is a driver swing, which is just a really good look at Viktor's golf swing here. And I really like this a lot. And here we have him, it's set up again, set up pretty similar. Not going to touch on that too much. I do like the setup position a lot. As we take the club back again, works very inside, square club face, we pause it parallel to the ground. Good position here. You know, nothing we haven't said already. If we play it back to the top, club works inside, then up and across the line, very across the line here. If we pause it at the top, again, nothing we haven't already mentioned, but if there is something you guys see and that you haven't heard me talk about, please do comment it down below. As we play this swing down, shallows it out as he rotates really hard. Pause it parallel to the ground. Beautiful position here. Absolutely love that a lot. If we play it down onto the ball, again, really nice position here. Very modern, very athletic. And if we play it through, again, exactly what we've talked about. Doesn't really let that club release over. Just extends the arms and turns through with the body. So just play that back once or twice for you guys and have a look. Let me know, guys, what you think of Viktor's golf swing. Is there anything else, you know, I haven't mentioned there, which you have seen? Comment down below. Let me know who else you want to see me take a look at, what other golf swings you want to see me take a look at. A few things I would recommend and maybe not recommend with Viktor's golf swing. I really like a lot of the positions he gets himself into. The square club face is really good. I like that a lot. I wouldn't necessarily always recommend doing it the same way as Viktor because, well, one, he has a very bowed left wrist, which I would never ever try and teach anyone because it can lead to a lot of injuries in the left wrist. And Also a very strong left-hand grip, which again I wouldn't necessarily teach to anyone, but a lot of players now are favouring a stronger left-hand grip in their golf swings to try and stabilise that club face more with their body rotation. I love the positions he gets himself into on the downswing. That squat into the ground is really, really good. Then that push back up kind of through and after impact is, that is a real power move in his golf swing. And then that hold off finish kind of that he does, it's not really a hold off finish, but he just never lets the face release over. There's kind of positives and negatives to that. One, in terms of performance, it's going to really bring down your dispersion. You shouldn't, see too many balls start offline. But he has to rotate very, very, very hard through the ball in order to be able to do that and keep the arms and hands in front of his body. And that is only really possible if you're very athletic, very mobile. Otherwise, it could lead to, some injuries and putting a lot of pressure on your body and on your back. So, yeah, let me know what you think of Viktor Hovland. I'm super excited to see him playing in the Ryder Cup this year. I think he's going to be incredible. And yeah, if you have any other thoughts, let me know. Comment down below. I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you do comment, like this video, subscribe. And as always, guys, grip it and rip it.